Hello everyone! Welcome to the new experience of enjoying and living along with our Mother Nature by protecting and nurturing with Green Plug E-Cycle UAE, an awareness campaign which is all about our role in electronic waste management. Yes, the dilemma that we all are facing day to day, from home to home and from person to person, and as a whole, sad. But the truth, it's a rising global threat which we all are ignoring or is not much aware of. The e-waste or electronic waste and its impact on our future sustainability and living. Let's all join our hands together for Earth because it is what we all have in common. We may differ in so many things, but when it comes to Earth, it is same for all of us, as we have a plan B for everything, but never a planet B. Myself, Nadia, an electronics and communication engineer turned teacher. To brief you regarding the campaign, I have launched a website www.greenplugecycleuae.com where you can get more in written about my e-waste campaign. I assure you these things in my upcoming podcast. We will have fun facts, entertainment activities, updated information about latest and innovations in technology, and also above all, few simple ways where we can have changes in our lives, where we have to bend a little, a very little, all for the benefit of our nature and future. In a world of constant change and streaming technology, it is difficult for us to remain in the same era as our forefathers were. We do have to change, and those who do not want to drive into the new change are also forced to get along with the changing and updated technologies. Let's get started. In this first podcast, let me explain to you about sustainability in general and the major threats to the environmental sustainability. We are all familiar with these terms like sustainability, threats, the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Let me tell you in simple words. Just think. Earlier, during the time of our grandparents, there wasn't a need of parks and long nature trips for them to relax. It was there in their courtyards or neighborhood itself, maybe a few steps away from their home. But think of this generation. They have to plan at least one trip to the calmness and tranquility of nature so as to get themselves relaxed from the fast-moving world and stress that comes along. Time to ponder. Why now the nature has been restrained only to particular places and not like before? What we call sustainability, didn't it happen? So what will be the situation for the coming generation? This is where we have to think and act. And it is sustainability or sustainable living that comes into action now. Imagine owning a money box for your allowance that is always full. No matter how much of your allowance you take out, it keeps refilling. As much as we would like it to do so, the world doesn't work like that. Money does run out if we keep spending. Many of the things we use every day have a limit on the amount we can use or take out. It might take hundreds or thousands of years for some of them to completely run out. But these resources will disappear completely in future. Some are running out now or causing problems because there isn't enough for everyone, or they are getting harder and harder to find. Sustainability looks at ways of making sure that these resources last a very long time or even forever, such as the money box that will keep refilling. Sounds great, right? For example, think about our ancient civilizations. They were built on using raw materials such as rock, water, oil, and gas. But as time has gone on, some of these raw materials have become rarer or harder to find. These are not sustainable. However, we are slowly replacing some of these older raw materials with some that can easily be replaced or will never run out. Sustainability affects many areas of our lives. Here are some of the most important. Number 1 is energy. Yes, at the moment, our electricity mostly relies on oil, which is a fossil fuel. Other types of fossil fuel include coal and natural gases. They are all plant and animal remains from millions of years ago. None are sustainable, which means they will run out eventually. But over the last 50 years, new technologies have come around to create electricity and other power resources sustainable. These include some based on weather, such as solar power. Yes, we all know that. Of course, in UAE, it is very common, which uses the heat and light of the sun. Next, like wind turbines, which turn the wind to create electricity. Another type is harnessing the movements of the planet, such as hydroelectricity, which uses dams to control the flow of water, which is common in Asian countries. Tidal power, which uses the change in ocean tides to generate energy. And geothermal power, which takes heat from beneath the surface. So-called biomass and biofuels, which uses plants such as certain types of grass harvested and processed to create a type of gasoline or diesel that is renewable and doesn't rely on taking oil out of the ground. Number 2, agriculture and deforestation. Some crops are not good for the environment. You may be thinking why. I'll give you one example. You may have heard about a campaign to reduce how much palm oil the world uses to create sustainable palm oil farming, or to stop using it altogether. Palm oil farming leads to cutting down rainforests to make way for more farming land, and this is not sustainable. We need the rainforests for many reasons. In this area, sustainability means that we ensure local landscapes are not damaged by farming, and that we plant enough trees in other places to replace those we have cut down. Also, in some areas of the world, cutting down too many trees means the soil isn't quite so good at growing newer crops, and we need to chop down more trees. Number 3, plastics. Another hot topic at the moment is plastic. We all are aware about the disasters what plastics can bring to us. Did you know that plastics we use are made of oil? They are made from oil. Yes, the same oil that we put in our cars and burn to produce electricity for our homes and businesses. Oil will run out. But this is not only the problem. The news has recently been filled with a lot of information about the damage that plastics are doing to the environment all over the world, particularly in our oceans, harming the life forms that live there. They are swallowing plastic, which poisons them and get caught up in it. These plastics take thousands of years to break down. Scientists are trying to develop new plastics that are safe for the environment and break down much quicker. Number 4, waste. since the year 2000. Countries all over the world have tried to do something about waste. How much stuff does your family throw away? How much is recycled? The world has improved how much trash we send to recycling, but more needs to be done. Waste that cannot be recycled will go into landfill sites, and most of the landfill sites are Asian countries and African countries as of now. Trying to change what we make plastic from is just one of the problems of waste. We need to use as much packaging and other things we throw away at the moment recyclable. Better reduce the use of all those plastic waste so it can be reused as it is or melted down to make new things from the same waste. Landfill creates problems such as greenhouse gas emissions, yes, the carbon dioxide heating, which led to more global warming, another hot topic for a day of discussion, and reduced land space for other uses. Also, it is becoming expensive to maintain areas that are just used to dump stuff we don't want anymore. Number 5 is overpopulation. Some of the problems listed above are problems because we are using more of everything as there are more people on the planet. So what can we do? The old resources and raw materials can't cope anymore. What was once only a small problem because they were limited to fewer people is now much bigger problem because the population is increasing day by day, second by second. We are cutting down more forests to make way for more farming land, and larger populations are using more of water to drink, to put on crops, and to wash, and water sources such as lakes are drying up. We can find an example for all these things in our surroundings if we just open our eyes to watch these things. We are also burning more fossil fuels to create more energy for more people. As the population increases, we know transportation becomes a vitality. We have to use more fossil fuels as petrol, diesel, gasoline for our transport. And as the population just keeps getting bigger, we need bigger new solutions to the strain that we are putting on our resources. Number 6, biodiversity. This word means the balance between all life forms in an area or on the planet as a whole. It might not be obvious why this is a problem for sustainability at first, until we realize just how much we depend on other plants and animals in our lives. There is currently a threat to bee populations all over the world, and I think almost all of us know about that. And scientists are trying to understand why so many are dying off. It's not likely to happen, but just think, if all the bees die, then what will happen to our food supply? Will that be affected? Yes, bees do something called pollination, which helps plants reproduce. If bees go or vanish all in one day, what will happen? The amount of food we have from natural plant sources will be much lower. So we cannot imagine what will happen if it vanishes from Earth, as dinosaurs did once. The fish in our oceans is also an ongoing problem. When we fish too much, because of too much population, maybe, that can cause problems too. So these are the major areas that affects future sustainability. Only the major areas. There are so many minor things that are on its way. And coming onto our lifestyle now. Where do you live? In a city or in a village? Yes, more than 85% of those who are listening to this podcast will say cities, isn't it? Yes, as 2/3 of the world populations are living in urban areas. Cities are hubs for ideas, commerce, culture, science, productivity, social, human and economic development. Urban planning, transport systems, water, sanitation, waste management, disaster restoration, access to information, education, and capacity building are all relevant issues to sustainable urban development. So, we need to have well-developed cities too, as UAE. It was in 2008, for the first time in history, the global urban population outnumbered the rural population. This milestone marked the advent of a new urban millennium, and by 2050 it is expected that more than 2/3 of the world population will be living in urban areas or cities. With more than half of humankind living in cities and the number of urban residents growing by nearly 73 million every year, it is estimated that urban areas account for 70% of world's gross domestic product and has therefore generated economic growth and prosperity for many. In order to house, feed and employ these people, cities will have to do more with less. As we have flats now, they'll have to be smarter, greener and more efficient. They will have to innovate. Of course, innovators are working on that. We already have many of the ideas and inventions that are needed to make cities truly sustainable. People-powered transport not only helps make cities cleaner and less congested, it also can boost human health and well-being. But bicycling can sometimes seem too demanding for a workday commute, right? Because of the time and effort we have to take up for bicycling. Many may opt for public transport, which is a good choice as well. To make it more appealing and accessible, innovators are working more on battery-charged vehicles. We all can see so many battery-charged vehicles all over UAE. Cities can help cut food waste by growing perishable produce right in town, boosting individuals' connections to food and reducing spoilage, promoting lengthy transit distance and time. With water-based gardening and LED lighting, walls, roofs, and other structures that serve one function can be taught to multitask as a food-producing garden too. Cities can become also more sustainable and attractive by adding open spaces. For example, hiking trails, activity centers, and parks can draw people into the city and reduce waste. As we approach the end of the year, we can reflect on the challenges, growth, and triumphs we have experienced throughout the year. To be honest though, we didn't think it would get this hard this fast. The year 2020 turned out to be a difficult one to love, right? But maybe not for everyone, because still good things did happen. Perhaps more than usual. Our list this year includes silver linings. Yes, a terrible plague struck humankind, but yes, there is always a but. We don't apologize for that. Finding the silver linings is how we all make it through. Like improvement in so many areas like technology, Family relationships. Yes, we got, of course, so much time with our family, which helped us to build quality time with them. And even the rate of pollution decreased drastically. And thus, when we were panicking, our planet, she was healing. So why wait for something like this to come? Every day can be Earth Day, provided we do some of our actions dedicated for our planet specifically. As I said, just bend a little for the sake of our Mother Nature and future. So stay in touch with Green Plug for my upcoming podcast, where I will be sharing you so many useful ways for helping our planet with the current dilemma. And wishing you all good days ahead. It's me, Nadia, for Green Plug E-Cycle UAE, saying bye for now. Stay tuned and stay in touch. Thank you.